Every morning I wake up, walk into the kitchen, grab my mug, and brew myself a nice hot cup of fertilizer. Not quite, but kind of sort of. And when I make my coffee, I have a little fertilizer left over. It's coffee grounds. Spent coffee grounds can make a great quality organic and natural soil amendment and soil conditioner. Coffee grounds break down into a high quality humus material which really helps to fluff and condition your soil, helps to fix any of your out of balance soils. It even helps to neutralize your soil levels. Bring it closer to that 7 pH mark, which is pretty good for most any plants that you want to grow. Hi there, this is Jordy from Northern Homesteading, helping you to be successfully self-sufficient. Coffee grounds has a decent level of nitrogen for just a dry material, especially for leftover scrap waste like coffee grounds. Most people just throw them out. I don't. I save things like that. They're about 2% nitrogen. If you dry them out fully, then you could, if you dried them out fully and separated all the nitrogen out of it, by weight it'd be about 2%. So if you were throwing 10 pounds of coffee grounds in your soil, you're going to be throwing about 0.2 of a pound of nitrogen. Not really a lot, but it adds up, and it really helps to condition your soil. The quality humus that it creates as it breaks down, and the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium really does work as a natural fertilizer. In fact, I have fertilized both houseplants and entire rows of my garden with just coffee, just to try it out, with just my spent coffee grounds as the only organic amendment and as the only fertilizer ingredient. And I've done all right. Not horrible, not great, but all right. One thing I will get into a little, coffee grounds aren't really acidic. The coffee grounds left over from breakfast this morning, tested out at 6.5 pH, which is identical to my soil outside. The soil in my garden is also 6.5 pH. That's basically all the soil around here. We're greatly blessed. Maybe frigid winters up here, but I got 6.5 pH soil everywhere, and it's really great for everything except my tomatoes. I gotta have a little extra calcium for those at 6.5 pH. But coffee grounds is not gonna acidify your soil. Coffee grounds, tea bags, leaves, none of that stuff is gonna acidify your soil. Coffee grounds won't create an acidic soil, and it's really kind of beneficial. As you add that organic matter, higher organic matter tends to neutralize your soil because it changes how the rainwater diffuses and filters down through. It changes the speed and the rate at which water goes through your soil, and the water holding capacity of your soil increases. That all tends to make your soil closer to a neutral. It brings acidic soil up closer to 7, and it brings your alkaline soil down closer to a 7, which is pretty cool. I'll get into that sometime in another video though. Coffee grounds isn't that high in nitrogen. It's about 2% nitrogen. It's about 1/3% of your phosphorus and about 6% of potassium. But the ratio isn't that bad. The ratio is 6:1:2, which is not all that far off from something like a Miracle-Gro. It's a decent ratio. So you can in good conscience add tons of coffee grounds into your soil. If you get too much, you can start to cause a problem, but too much of anything is a bad thing. I know for a fact that if you do a 50-50 mix of coffee grounds and soil, it tends to have a harsh effect on the germination rate and the quality of your seedlings. It doesn't really seem to hurt mature plants if you wanted to add those directly to the soil to boost the organic matter during the growing season, after your seedlings are not seedlings anymore. That's probably fine, I think. But I don't really want more than a 10% coffee grounds in my soil. If you think about it, 10% organic matter is super high in the first place. Generally, I don't want to get over a 6. 6 is the highest I'll ever get for organic content in my soil, in my topsoil. If I had 10-15%, that's the point where drainage starts doing weird things and the soil becomes mucky and swampy and starts to stink and hold too much water. It becomes anaerobic. It just goes bad. That's when plants start dying because they don't have enough air to their roots. So if you have so much coffee grounds in your soil that it starts to actually be bad for your plants because of possibly the caffeine or some other chemical compound in it that does seem to hurt germination rates if you go extreme. But if you get to those levels, your soil's already way beyond bad because you have so much organic matter, it's just not good anymore in your soil. Honestly, you're going to have a hard time getting that much coffee grounds in your soil unless you're running down to the coffee shop every morning and bringing home a 5-gallon bucket full of coffee grounds. If you just take what you have from your own house, you almost can't get to almost. Some people drink a lot of coffee. I drink a lot of coffee. But really, you should be okay saving all the coffee grounds from your house and throwing them out in your garden. There's nothing tricky about it. Just throw them out there. If you're a little concerned about having a little bit of acid in your soil, or about, like I mentioned, the harsh effect on germination that coffee grounds has had in some studies if you go extreme on the levels that you use, put it in the off season after growing's done. It'll leach out, wash out with the rain and the groundwater, and you won't really have any of that problem come springtime. Coffee grounds are a great natural organic option as a soil amendment, soil conditioner, and as a low strength fertilizer. Now, coffee grounds are about 2% nitrogen. That's when they're completely dried. So how much coffee grounds would you add to your soil? Well, if you want to be a little technical, I will compare it to a 10-10-10 fertilizer. Though it's a better ratio, I'll still compare the volume I use to a 10-10-10 fertilizer, because that's what most fertilizer recommendations are interpreted through for home gardens. They're based on how much of a 10% nitrogen fertilizer, or your 10-10-10 fertilizer. You use 5 times as much coffee grounds by weight as you would 10-10-10 fertilizer. So if you're supposed to use 1 pound of 10-10-10 fertilizer in a 50-foot row of side dressing, a 50-foot row for potatoes. I don't actually know if that's true. I've never used 10-10-10. I go all organic. But if that was the case, then you would use excuse me. Then you could use 5 pounds of coffee grounds thoroughly dried. That's not really a ton, considering that this bucket here is 1.5 pounds. So it adds up. It adds up quick. Use coffee grounds at 5 times the rate you would a 10-10-10 fertilizer, and that honestly will do you pretty darn good for your total fertilizer needs for the whole year. And you'll still have a little left over for the next year because it's an organic material that breaks down, that releases slowly. You'll have a minimum 20% of that left over for the next year. That's what I've got for you today on coffee grounds in your garden. I use them. I recommend you guys do. I recommend everybody who's asking me about trying to start gardens this year, I recommend them start by just saving your coffee grounds, because it's one of the easiest methods to build up your soil to a high quality, fertile, organic soil. Well, thanks for watching Northern Homesteading today. I hope you learned something useful. If you did like this video, I'd appreciate if you click the like button, because that helps me and YouTube get these videos out to you. Well, thanks. Go have a good day. I hope you have a great time. Bye now, and good luck gardening.